In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys the 3-step blueprint that I used to change my mindset when it came to quitting cannabis after struggling for several years with a cannabis substance use disorder. Tip number 1 is going to be to focus on the long-term outcomes of stopping cannabis use. What are the long-term things that you hope to improve after stopping the use of cannabis? That's where we want to put our attention into. Because if not, like me, you're going to make the mistake of getting tied up trying to find short-term solutions to the problems you're facing when you quit. For example, when I quit using cannabis, I had really wicked withdrawal symptoms: insomnia, nausea, body pain, headache. And I was so hyper-focused on trying to find quick little solutions to get through this withdrawal phase, to get through this craving, to get through this event, that I completely lost sight of the reasons why I was quitting in the first place. See, when we struggle with active addiction, what happens is we become hardwired towards these short-term hits, these short-term bursts of dopamine. And what I thought I was doing was solving my problem of anxiety by consuming cannabis, solving my work stress by consuming cannabis, solving my relationship problems or escaping from them by consuming cannabis. I thought cannabis was a quick solution to the problems I was facing in life. What I failed to understand at the time was that cannabis was actually the thing that was causing many of the problems I was facing. And you can't fix the problem with the thing that's causing the problem. The thing that's causing the problem is not going to be the solution to it. But once I shifted my mindset onto focusing around the long-term outcomes, the things that I stood to gain back after quitting drinking, quitting smoking weed, quitting smoking cigarettes, quitting vaping, it became much easier for me to go through those withdrawals, for me to go through those cravings, because I knew this wasn't a short-term game. I understood that quitting cannabis was about the long play, not the short play. Because if you're focused on the short play and that's where your mindset gets stuck, this process of quitting is going to suck. When we focus on the long play, when we understand that this is going to take time, this is going to take some effort, this is going to take some work, you can actually start to get really excited about your stopping the consumption of cannabis. Tip number 2, and this plays directly into tip number 1, focus on your why. And I say this because this is important. A lot of people will quit smoking weed and they wind up so hyper-focused on the withdrawals and so hyper-focused on the cravings. And what they fail to understand, and what I failed to understand when I was quitting, is that chances are your quit and the things that you're trying to solve don't have quick solutions. When I was quitting, I wasn't in the worst financial place in the world, but for owning a private practice, for being in business for myself, I wasn't doing great. My relationships, yeah, I could get dates, I could go out with girls, I could do things, I could maintain a semi-crappy relationship for a period of time, but they were a disaster. My physical health, I had psychosis, I had Cannabinoid Hyperemesis Syndrome. It was a disaster. I would quit smoking weed, I would focus on short-term solutions to these problems that I was facing, which required a long play, because fixing your finances, fixing your marriage, fixing your relationships, learning how to speak, learning how to talk, learning how to communicate, these were all things that I had to fix. And this was why I was quitting. I wanted to improve my health, my wealth. I wanted to take better advantage of my time. I wanted to improve my relationships. All these things were multifactorial. It wasn't just quitting cannabis that was going to magically solve that stuff. But I would quit and I would go back to, oh, I feel this way today, so I'm just going to smoke again, as a short-term solution to the withdrawal symptoms, as a short-term solution to escape from the thoughts going through my head, versus sitting down and strategizing how I could turn my long-term play into a reality. And this is often rooted in your why. Why are you stopping the use of cannabis? And you have to set proper expectations for yourself. If it's to improve your marriage that's been suffering for years of addiction, that's going to take time. So don't expect quitting cannabis to be a quick solution to a much bigger problem. The same thing goes for financial health, physical health, spiritual health. These are long-term plays that are usually multifactorial. And if you think just quitting cannabis is going to solve that overnight, you're going to wind up choosing, not relapsing, choosing to going back to consuming the substance, a mistake I made time and time again. I have helped literally thousands of people quit consuming cannabis, and I put all my knowledge into a free training that you can find with the link in the video description. Now, my last tip for you guys is you have to start to behave in sobriety like the person that you will become, not like the person you want to become, like the person that you will eventually become. With enough effort, with enough grit, with enough discipline, with enough practice, you can become anything. Did you ever think in a million years I'd be a YouTuber helping literally hundreds of thousands of people? We have 700,000 subscribers across all our channels overcome a substance use disorder? Probably not. But I knew I had more potential. I knew I had more value to offer the world. And I started to behave that way. And this is how I did it. I took actions to turn into the person that I wanted to become. So, the person I want to become, a public speaker, an influencer, someone who changes the lives of others, how would that person act today? Well, they're probably going to A, start by taking care of themselves. B, they're probably going to get some mentorship on public speaking, social media skills, business advice, marriage advice, right? The person you marry plays a big role in your career and the success of that. So I started to hang around people and groups and places that had the people that I wanted to be like, that had the people I wanted to become. I wasn't in the bars anymore. I wasn't at the dispensaries anymore. I wasn't in those places anymore because they didn't have the person that I was trying to be. And it would be impossible for me to have become the person I am today if I didn't take small actions that would eventually develop into the bigger picture of the person that I ultimately wanted to become. If you can adopt this mindset when it comes to quitting cannabis, I promise the process is going to be significantly easier and significantly more enjoyable. Addiction and how we approach the treatment of addiction is largely a mindset. I'm not talking about physical dependence and needing a medical detox. I'm not talking about that. But addiction and how we perceive ourselves, how we perceive our ability to choose, how we do that is a mindset. And if you go into it with a flawed mindset, you're going to struggle. And I don't want that to happen to you. So check out the link for my free training. It's right below in the video description. Until next time.